So here is DWAC, Digital World Acquisition Corp, or Truth Social. This finishes at $41 today. That is up 8.01%. Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. So here is MULN Mullen Automotive. This finishes at $1.48 today. That is up 5.71%. So we've been covering this stock for about 2 months now. Crazy timeline. It squeezed, and then Hindenburg came out with a short report, has been pulling back ever since, and now it's finally looking like it's starting to bottom out and catch support. For now, at least. So once again, this was trending top 10 on StockTwits. I believe it had like 5,000 mentions, so we're going to analyze it again. So we did have some news yesterday. Let's check it out. So the company announced solid-state polymer battery testing with the Battery Innovation Center in Indiana. So that seems like bullish news, although honestly, I'm not sure how much I trust that news, because the CEO is known to exaggerate and borderline lie about a lot of the claims he's made. But yeah, bullish news, apes liked it. It did pop yesterday, went back down. So that news probably had something to do with the run today. But yeah, overall, stock is up 5.71% today, which is really good considering how much of a bloodbath the market was today. So let's go ahead and analyze here. So first of all, this appears to be a cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being the low of 52 cents, and there can be multiple possible tops. It can be 380, which if it is 380, that would be a bearish indicator, because that would mean the cup has already topped out and is due for a pullback, which it has been pulling back for a while now. But it can also be above 380, and anything above 380 would be a bullish indicator, because that would mean the cup is not completed yet. It can also be 585, 640, 740, 815, 905, 995, 1085, 1165, or even 1590, the high. Although I do think the most realistic top would be 380. And actually there's another mini cup and handle developing here. It looks like the bottom could be 135, and the top could be 270, 340, or 425. So that little cup and handle would actually be a bullish indicator, because that is saying the stock should come back up to one of those tops to complete the cup. We do have a double gap down, first gap down at 1180, so that is a bullish indicator. That is telling us that the stock should come back up to 1180 to fill this gap. May take a while, but eventually it should. And then we do have another gap down at 465. So another bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to 465 to fill this gap. Again, it may take a while, but eventually it should. We do have a gap up at 60 cents. So that is a bearish indicator. That is telling us that the stock may come back down to 60 cents to fill this gap. Looks pretty unlikely, but possible, so be aware of that, guys. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. Alright, so right now this is trading between the sideways channel, the rectangle of 155 and 135. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 155, 170, 190, 225, 255, 270, 290, 320, 340, 360, 380, $4, 410, and then 425. There is resistance above 425, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 135, 115, $1, 75 cents, 60 cents, and then the low of 52 cents. So right now at this current price, 148, the channels to the upside and the downside are pretty decently sized, so expect a regular amount of price action either way this goes. However, if/when this breaks 190, to the upside, the channels start to open up and get pretty wide, so expect a significant increase in price action if/when this breaks 190. And to the downside, if/when this breaks 135, the channels start to open up and get pretty wide, so expect a significant increase in price action if/when this breaks 135. RSI is currently at 36, so not quite oversold and undervalued, but quickly approaching that, so this could be a good buying opportunity, not financial advice. And this did 63 million in volume today, way above the average of 23 million, so this pump today was confirmed by the volume. Okay guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. So fundamentally, I really don't like this stock. I've been pretty skeptical about it. There are some pretty serious accusations in the Hindenburg report that have yet to be addressed. The CEO has not responded yet, and it doesn't appear like he will. I would like to see a response. That would definitely clear up a lot of FUD. So from a fundamental standpoint, I wouldn't even touch this stock. So what I'm going to say here is based on the technicals. So technically, long term, this does look pretty bullish. Strong bullish indicators in the cup and handle and double gap down. It did look bearish. It looks like it's starting to reverse, and it's starting to look bullish actually. Again, we have some bullish indicators in the cup and handle and low RSI. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, honestly, 148 is a pretty good entry already. Looks like it's catching some pretty strong support at 135. Tested that 3 times, has not broken that. So hopefully that holds. Again, low RSI, so not quite oversold and undervalued, but almost there. The only thing I'm really concerned about is the gap up at 60 cents, which is unlikely, but possible. So yeah, 148, it's a pretty good entry. So yeah, I can't support going long at 148 and lower, and if it pulls back below 148, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. Personally, I think it's a good idea to go along here, and I would average down if it pulls back to 60 cents where the gap is. Other than the gap up, this looks pretty bullish. And again, we have this mini cup and handle forming here. So this has the potential to go back up to 290, 340, or 425 in the short term. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, honestly, I think it's a bit too late to go short here. Should have did that back in the $4 or the $3 range. Here at 148, like I said, things are starting to look pretty bullish. So I think you missed your chance. That being said, there is still the gap up at 60 cents. Unlikely that's going to fill. But if it does, that's a 60% downside. And again, at the same time, this can go back up to 425 in the short term to complete the cup. So 60% downside and 200% upside. So I would say going short here would be a high risk, high reward play. Not really worth it in my opinion. A lot more upside potential than downside potential. And again, this has already pulled back very significantly. Really shouldn't go too much lower. So if you want to go short, it can work out, but pretty risky. So please do that at your own risk. Personally, I don't really think that's a great idea. So congratulations to everyone who made money in the stock today. And good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is MULN Mullen Automotive. So here is ATER Aterian. This finishes at $4.39 today. That is down 6.4%.
And it's gone.
So we've been covering this stock for a couple of weeks now. There was a lot of retail interest, definitely short squeezed. Now it appears like the squeeze is over. It's been pulling back pretty significantly in the past few trading sessions here. I did predict it would top out at 680 and was due for a big pullback. A lot of apes didn't like that, but I tell the truth here, guys. Here we are. So once again, this was top 10 on StockTwits. Had over 4,000 mentions. So once again, we're going to analyze it. So really no company specific news to justify this price action today. It just seems like the squeeze is coming to an end, people taking profits, shorts coming in here, and just the overall market in a bloodbath today. So let's go ahead and analyze here. So first of all, this appears to be a cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being 210, the low, and there can be multiple possible tops. Can be 680, and if it is 680, that would currently be a bearish indicator because that would mean the cup already topped out and is due for a pullback, and it has been pulling back the past few days. But it can also be above 680, and if it is above 680, that would currently be a bullish indicator because that would mean the cup is not completed yet. It can also be 835, 995, 1190, 1420, 1705, or 1905. And actually longer term, this is an even bigger cup and handle and has the potential to go back up to $49, the high. In the shorter term, no confirmation yet, but it looks like there's a mini cup and handle developing, and this may have the potential to go back up to 680 again to complete this mini cup. So the cup and handle can be bullish or bearish depending on where the top is. It appears like in the longer term, it's a bullish indicator. In the short term, it appears to be bearish, but it could be reversing pretty soon. That could turn bullish pretty soon. We do have a bull flag in the making here. I drew it for you guys. Here's the flagpole, and we have a flag developing. So that is a bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock may break out to the upside pretty soon. We do have a gap down at 850. So that is a bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock may come back up to 850 to fill this gap eventually. May take a while, but eventually it should. And then we do have a gap up at 390. So that is a bearish indicator that is telling us that the stock may come back down to 390 to fill this gap. And in the aftermarket here, this is pulling back down to 432. So if this holds, that would be a bearish indicator for Monday. That is suggesting that Monday the stock will sell off. And down here on the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence, the MACD line is going to cross the signal line pretty soon to the downside. So that would be a bearish indicator. That is suggesting that it may be time to sell soon. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is trading between the sideways channel, the rectangle of 460 and 410. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 460, 510, 565, 610, 640, 680, 745, $8, 835, 865, 910, 955, 995, and then 1045. There is resistance above 1045, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 410, 355, 305, 255, 210, and then the low of 140. So right now at this current price, 440, the channels to the upside and the downside are very wide, so expect significant price action either way this goes. RSI is currently at 53, so that is pretty average. So according to the RSI, the current price of 439 is around fair market value. Maybe should be a little bit lower. And this did 16 million in volume today, way above the average of 9 million. So the sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. And the volume has been pulling back every single day for the past week. So it does appear like momentum is cooling off and the squeeze has in fact come to an end. Okay guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. So longer term, this looks like a good stock to buy and hold. Again, very strong bullish indicators in the cup and handle and gap down. In the short term, there still appears to be more downside to go, but really shouldn't go down too much further. We are starting to get some bullish indicators in the mini cup and handle and bull flag. But the gap up and aftermarket action are a bit concerning. So I do think there is still a bit more downside to go. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, honestly, 440 is already a pretty good entry. Again, according to the RSI, this is a very average entry. So you really can't go too wrong buying in here at 440. It looks like it's starting to catch support. It may reverse pretty soon. That being said, there is still this gap up at 390, which I think will fill. And based on this cup and handle here, if the top of the cup is 680 and the bottom is 210, this should pull back to around 445 because that's halfway between the top and bottom of the cup, and it already has. So a handle is formed, so the handle may keep pulling back a little bit more, but looks like it should run to the upside pretty soon. So based on the cup and handle and the gap up, this should pull back to around the 445 to 390 range. So yeah, if you want to go long at 440, I can't support that. Pretty average entry. Personally, I would try to get this back at 390. I do think that gap will fill, but it really can't go too wrong at 440. So I can't support going long at 440 and lower, and if it pulls back below 440, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. Personally, I try to get this at 390. I would say going long here would be a low risk, high reward play. It seems like there's about a 50% upside potential here to come back up to 680 to complete this cup, and about a 10% downside if this pulls back down to 390 to fill the gap. Good amount of upside potential, not too much more downside potential. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, I think it's a bit too late to go short here. Back when this was at 680, I said it looked like a good short. A lot of apes didn't like that, but it did pull back pretty hard. So here at 440, I think you missed your chance going short. Again, this may pull back a little bit further. I do think it will come back down to 390, but again, this is starting to look bullish, and it should reverse pretty soon. So I would say going short here would be a high risk, low reward play. Again, looks like there's a 10% downside potential and about a 50% upside potential. So I think you should be able to get 10% on the downside here, but it's just not really worth it in my opinion because this is still a retail favorite, and if this does move to the upside, you're going to be in big trouble. If you want to go short, sure, go for it. Just please do that at your own risk. Personally, I think it's way too risky at this point, so I just stay away from this on the short side. So sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today, and good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is ATER Aterian. So here is DWAC, Digital World Acquisition Corp, or Truth Social. This finishes at $41 today. That is up 8.01%. So we haven't talked about this stock in a while here, but this was one of the biggest gainers today in a bloodbath. Made top 10 on StockTwits. I think it had like 3,000 mentions. So we're going to analyze it today. So we did have some news, so let's check that out. So this happened a couple days ago, but there was a short report released by Carisdale Capital. They claim that the company has given misleading statements about SEC registration, and due to the SEC cracking down on SPACs, there's a good chance this doesn't even get approved for the merger. That was pretty bearish. That may be the reason why this has been pulling back the past couple of days. But today we're getting some bullish news. Truth Social migrates to Rumble Cloud. So it says the website and mobile apps have successfully migrated to Rumble's cloud infrastructure. So Rumble is another conservative social media platform, and they do have a partnership. So bullish news there. And that probably had somewhat to do with the run today. So let's go ahead and analyze here. So first of all, this appears to be a cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being 37.65, and there can be multiple possible tops. It can be 51.15, 70.20, 74.60, 98.30, 120, or even the high of 175. So those are all bullish indicators. That is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to one of those tops to complete the cup. We do have this gap down at $59. So that is a bullish indicator. That is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to $59 to fill this gap. And way back when this first launched, there was a gap up at $10. So you can barely see it on the chart here. But yeah, there is a gap up at $10. So that would be a bearish indicator that is telling us that the stock may come back down to $10 to fill that gap. It looks pretty unlikely at this point, but possible. So be aware of that, guys. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now, this is sitting on the support of 40.90, which it finished the round today. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 44.70, 48.45, 51.15, 53.45, 55.50, 57.35, 60.05, 63.10, 65.60, 67.50, 70.20, 74.60, 77.45, 81.10, 83.30, 87.10, 91.35, 94.10, 98.30, 120, and then the high of 175. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 37.65, 16.50, 12.75, 10.65, and then the low of 9.85. So right now at this current price, 41, the channels to the upside and the downside are very wide, so expect significant price action either way this goes. However, if/when this breaks 98.30 to the upside, the channel starts to really open up, so expect an even more significant increase in price action if/when this breaks 98.30. And to the downside, if/when this breaks 37.65, the channels get even wider. So expect an even more significant increase in price action if/when this breaks 37.65. RSI is currently at 29. This is officially in oversold, undervalued territory, so this could be a good buying opportunity, not financial advice. And this did 2 million in volume today. Pretty significant volume, so this pump today was confirmed by the volume. Okay, guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. So fundamentally, I don't like this stock. There are some concerns that the merger won't even go through now. The Truth Social platform itself doesn't appear to be that great. I don't really see it competing with the other social media apps. So fundamentally, I wouldn't even touch this stock. So what I'm going to say here is just based on the technicals. So technically, it does look pretty bullish in the short and long terms. Still risk though. But yeah, long term, this looks really strong. Got some pretty strong bullish indicators in the cup and handle and gap down. And even in the short term, it looks pretty good too. Got some pretty strong bullish indicators in the cup and handle and low RSI. The only thing is I am pretty concerned if this does keep running to the downside, which it very well could. Again, there's a very wide channel from 37.65 to 16.50. So if this does keep pulling back, this can go really bad really fast. And again, there is the gap up at $10, which is unlikely to fail, but possible. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice. According to the technicals, 41 appears to be a really good entry. Again, cup and handle, gap down, low RSI, all bullish indicators. Only bearish indicator would be the gap up at $10. Again, which it looks unlikely. And no neutral indicators. So 41 does appear to be a pretty good entry. I can't support going along at 41 and lower. But again, there is a good amount of risk to the downside here. If this does break 37.65, this can go really bad really fast. So I would say going long here would be a medium risk, high reward play. Definitely worth a shot. There is a lot of upside potential. The gap down at 60 would mean there's a 50% upside potential. And the top of the cup at 100 means there would be a 150% upside potential. But at the same time, there's the gap up at 10, and that would be a 75% downside potential. So that's why I say medium risk, high reward play, because there's a lot of upside potential, also a lot of downside potential, although it does appear like the downside potential is not likely to happen. So I can't support going long at 41 and lower, and if it pulls back below 41, then you can just average down. But just be aware, guys, there is a good amount of risk involved, so if you want to go long, please do that at your own risk. But based on the technicals, it does appear like a pretty good entry. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, I would not do that for the same reasons as I said on the long side. 50 to 150% upside potential, a lot of downside potential, 275%. But that does not appear to be likely to happen. So going short can pay off pretty big here, if you're correct, if it does come back down to 10, but pretty risky. So I would say going short here would be a high risk, medium reward play. Again, because a lot of upside potential, a lot of downside potential too, but if this runs to the upside, which it very well could, you can get burned pretty bad. So if you want to go short, it could work out. A lot of potential money to be made here on the downside, but pretty risky. Just please do that at your own risk. All right, pretty straightforward here, guys. Fundamentally, I don't like the stock. I wouldn't even touch it. But technically, it does look pretty bullish in the short and long terms. But just be aware, guys, if this does keep running to the downside, this can go really bad really fast. So if you want to go long, looks like a pretty good entry right now. Just be aware of the downside risk. And if you want to go short, I personally wouldn't do that, but it can pay off pretty big. So also please do that at your own risk. So congratulations to everyone who made money in the stock today. And good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is DWAC, Digital World Acquisition Corp, or True Social. Thanks everyone for watching today. I appreciate you guys. Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. You apes already know, diamond hands to the moon. I'm Ty. This is Smarter Gambling. See you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Peace out.